As for how it works, my main elements of complexity come from the A-star algorithm with the monsters and my binary space partitioning room generation. So, as you can see, this is an example of one of the randomly generated maps. I can generate a couple more, but how these rooms are generated is basically first we have a partition of the entire map, and then using a binary tree, we slice it up into a bunch of smaller partitions. And then we generate a randomly sized room that fits in the partition before creating corridors that will connect everything. And as you can see, some corridors can connect with other corridors, some corridors can have a bit of an S shape or a Z shape. And yeah, I'll generate a few more. The other element of complexity comes from the A-star algorithms. That comes from the traps in my game. I'll restart until I find a room with one. There it is. The traps. Now, as you can see, if I walk to over here, the monsters will use A-star to path towards me. Well, so basically, while A-star by itself is not a super challenging thing, it was really hard for me because in each of my rooms I had to generate the spikes or the traps randomly, and nothing was on a grid, which meant that I had to create a graph for A-star by myself, and I used something called a navigation mesh, which was pretty simple because all I had was just rectangles. So I created a navigation mesh out of a bunch of different rectangles uh, for all the walkable areas, and then on the centers of the edges of each of those rectangles, I put a point, and those points created my A-star graph.